Hi everyone, so today I wanted to share my tips for solo travelling and my experience in Portugal as a female because geez was it a journey. From the beautiful streets of Porto to the golden beaches of Lagos, my trip was filled with adventure, new friendships and a lot of lessons. Oh, and I got Lyme disease. Yes, you heard that right, but more on that later. Whether you're planning your first solo trip or you're specifically eyeing Portugal, I've got you covered. Stick around for my recommendations, insider tips and how meeting up with a friend at the end of the trip made it all the better. So why solo travel? Honestly, it's been a dream of mine for years, but there were a ton of reasons I kept putting it off, such as money, safety, and the fear of things just going wrong. I mean, my phone was so old it barely held a charge. Imagine being lost with a dying phone and no maps. Not ideal. But recently, I realised I was holding myself back. I wanted to step out of my comfort zone and break free from my routine. I needed the space to reflect and grow, and what better way to do that than by solo travelling? Plus, there's something so freeing about being able to plan exactly what you want to do without having to compromise. It's the ultimate form of self-care. So I booked that flight and the rest is history. After a ton of research, Portugal seemed like the perfect choice. It's familiar yet exciting. I've been to Europe a few times now and Portugal felt like the perfect mix of comfort and adventure. The culture is approachable, the locals are super friendly and English is widely spoken. Number 2, budget-friendly bliss. Flights were just £60 and the accommodation was only £500 for the week and the meals averaged to about £12 and you can eat like royalty or go budget, so it's totally up to you. Number 3, perfect weather. I went during the off-season in October, which meant two things. There were fewer crowds and still gorgeous weather. It was warm enough for me to pack light with dresses and shorts. And pro tip, these are super easy to hand wash on the go, so you can travel even lighter. Number 4, compact but packed with variety. Portugal is the ideal mix of experiences in a compact space. In Porto, you'll find charming wine cellars and beautiful riverside views, while Lagos offers stunning coastlines and plenty of water activities. Everything is close enough to make travelling easy, yet diverse enough to keep each day feeling fresh and exciting. Honestly, how could I not choose Portugal for my first solo trip? It felt like a no-brainer. My trip was planned loosely, just the right mix of structure and flexibility. I started in Porto for 2 days, moved on to Lisbon for 3, and ended in Lagos and the Algarve for 4 days, where I met up with a longtime friend. Having someone to join at the tail end of the trip was honestly such a great decision because it gave me the chance to unwind and share some of my adventures with someone I trust. When it comes to solo travel, pre-planning is your best friend. Here's what's helped me stay organised. Number 1, map it out. Use Google Maps to pin all the spots that you want to visit, landmarks, restaurants, hidden gems, and create a folder for easy tracking. And a bonus, you can share it with your friends later if they plan a similar trip. Number 2, make it a mission to talk to the locals. Taxi drivers, hostel staff, and restaurant servers are gold mines of insider info. They'll often recommend hidden spots and authentic dishes you wouldn't have found otherwise. Number 3, travel light and pack smart. This one is huge. I packed mostly items that can roll into a small bundle and packed it all into this small laptop backpack. If you want to invest in a proper travel backpack, I recommend visiting an outlet store like Oakley to snag deals on high quality bags which last a lifetime. Obviously, I won't go through a whole list of things to pack, but things that you might not think of are a battery pack to keep your devices charged during long days. Use a universal plug with multiple USB slots. Trust me, it's a lifesaver to charge multiple devices at the same time. Pack a small notebook and pen for jotting down your thoughts while enjoying a coffee break. A compact microfiber quick dry travel towel. A compact, lightweight and waterproof jacket. You can get some decent ones from Depop. I got this from North Face that wasn't used for £20. A foldable backpack to leave your main one behind to carry basics like water or your towel if you go to the beach. This one was only £3 from Decathlon, but keep in mind it was not waterproof. Also, take a decent bum bag. Makes life much easier and things are more secure. This was £12 from an Oakley outlet and is waterproof. Comfortable and durable shoes, and you can hang them on the outside of your bag with a D-clip or carabiner. I really wished I'd packed bug spray though, because mid-trip I noticed this super itchy spot on my hand. At first I brushed it off, but then it turned into a bullseye rash. Yep, it was Lyme disease. A kind stranger at the pharmacy overheard me asking about it and basically told me to see a doctor ASAP. Thankfully, I got treated in time, but let this be your reminder, bring bug spray and cover up where possible. You never know what tiny critter will cause a huge issue in the future. Number 4, be flexible. Instead of cramming in every attraction, prioritise a few key spots. It's impossible to see everything, so focus on what matters most to you. Many attractions also allow same-day or last-minute bookings, but double-check in advance to avoid surprises. When I was walking through Lisbon, I realised there was this huge music festival organised by Time Out, and I had no idea it was happening. Unfortunately, I was supposed to leave that day to meet my friend in the Algarve. Luckily, she wasn't arriving until later, so I actually managed to catch part of it, but I still missed the main acts. Now I always make sure to check for events before booking my trips, not just attractions, because you never know what you might miss out on. In terms of accommodation, hostels are a budget-friendly and great for meeting people. I would recommend Hostel World. One of the women I met on this app actually became my travel buddy for the rest of the trip in Portugal, and we still keep in touch. If you're shy about meeting people, hostel organised events are a great way to break the ice. I personally didn't attend these, but heard from others that they were a great way to meet fellow travellers. But there are some things to keep in mind when staying in hostels. Number 1, book female-only rooms if you're a female solo traveller. This ensures a safer and a more comfortable experience. Some hostels also have dorms which only consist of 4 people, and they usually have private rooms if you prefer that. Some girls I met had horror stories about mixed dorms, like drunken guys climbing into their beds thinking it was their own, and that's just not ideal. Number 2, check for lockers so your valuables are always secure. Number 3, location is key. Pick a place that's close to public transport or the attractions you want to visit, but avoid places near bars or clubs if you need to sleep. Trust me, you'll thank me when you're not woken up at 3 a.m. by partygoers stumbling home. In terms of transport in Portugal, if I'm travelling with someone, I'll usually rent a car in Europe. It's cheaper, faster, and so much more convenient. But because I was by myself, I decided to rely on public transport for this trip. And let me tell you, public transport in Portugal is an experience. For starters, it's not the most reliable. My travel buddy and I ended up booking taxis and using e-scooters most of the time. Although the e-scooters were actually more expensive than the taxis, which I didn't expect. If you're planning to use public transport, here's what I learned the hard way. Number 1, pre-book everything. Trains, buses, whatever you're taking, pre-book it. If you just turn up at the station, even off-peak, you'll likely end up in a long queue. Plus, tickets are often company specific, so you can't just hop on the next train if it's a different provider. Number 2, be early and double check directions. The train stations aren't very intuitive. Coaches are even worse. Google Maps would say one thing, but the buses didn't turn up when or where they were supposed to. Even the locals admitted that public transport can be chaotic. Number 3, expect the unexpected. One time, my travel buddy and I waited 30 minutes for a bus. When it finally showed up, we stuck out our arms to signal for it to stop, and it just drove past us. I still have no idea why. If anyone knows, please let me know, but I imagine it's just because they could tell we were tourists. Number 4, getting lost can be fun. Between all the missed buses, confusing stations and wrong turns, we got lost a lot. At the time it was frustrating, but looking back, it's one of the funniest parts of the trip. And we ended up discovering places we wouldn't have found otherwise, and we had so many laughs along the way. So if you're up for a bit of chaos and adventure, public transport in Portugal would definitely keep you on your toes. Before I wrap this up, I wanted to share a few general tips that really stood out to me during this trip. First of all, alone time is important. I was lucky to have a great travel buddy, but it's crucial to ask for alone time if you want it. I didn't do this enough and ended up unintentionally isolating my travel buddy. So just communicate your needs, it makes the experience so much smoother. Relaxation days are key. I know we all want to see everything, but trust me, take some downtime. My friend and I spent a day at a private swimming pool and sauna, and it was exactly what we needed to recharge. Sleep, sleep, and more sleep. I was so tired by the end of the trip from waking up early and running around sightseeing. It definitely caught up with me and I could barely function. Moral of the story, prioritise your beauty sleep. Your mind and body will thank you. Oh, and if you're staying in noisy places, I would recommend Loop's earplugs. They're super comfortable and they block out noise really well. Solo travelling in Portugal was one of the best decisions I've ever made. From navigating cities alone to making new friends and even learning how to laugh at public transport mishaps, it's an experience I will never forget. If you're thinking about travelling solo, I highly recommend Portugal. It's a safe, affordable and beautiful destination with just the right amount of adventure. Let me know in the comments if you travelled solo before or if you've been to Portugal. What's your favourite part? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more travel content. Until next time, happy exploring.